Good morning, everyone. So welcome back our second part for the lesson 1, Introduction to Security. I'm Van Ling from the Department of Computer Science and Information Engineering. Okay, so today I will introduce about CIA triad. So that's the one is, if you already heard about the CIA, that's a very famous agency in United States, right? But in the CIA, in the security, is a kind of quite unique and so different from a CIA in United States. So now I want to introduce what's different. Okay, first about we will hear about the information security first. So in the last lesson, we already mentioned what's the difference between the information security and data security, system security, cyber security. And you will hear about every security the technology they try to protect the data or the network or IT infrastructure from the authorized the access, and they try to maintain the confidentiality, integrity, availability. So that is three triads, and after you combine the three terms together, you can see CIA equal to the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability. So that is the core parts in all security related issue. So if you see in the screen, you can see that's a triad. You can see triangle, communication, software, hardware. So information is kind of in the middle. So information security, they try to protect all the IT infrastructure and the data. And you can see we have a triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And the outside, so you can see physical layer, you can see personality and organization security. So this one from Wikipedia, so you can check it. Okay, first before we can know confidentiality, what is mean confidentiality? We talk about we often use. Okay, every day maybe you can log into the Facebook. You can use your username and password, right? So that's very common for everyone. So, okay, confidentiality, that means you use a kind of credential like username, password, Face ID, Touch ID to log in some system. So that is confidentiality. And you can see confidentiality include two terms about authentication. That means can determine who you are. For example, when you use the username and password, so the system can know, okay, you are already registered the user or something. You can determine I'm John or who you are. And the last one, authorization. Authorization is different, so can determine who can have a right to access. For example, when you look into Facebook, you can use several games. You can see your friends' news feed, right? And something like when you look into the kind of your USD, the system, you can use, you can access your profile, you can access your course, or you can just can edit your information. So that's authorization can determine what's the resource you can access or you can modify, you can edit. So that's the confidentiality. And this one I think is very common, you use every day. Yeah. And this some hacker try to kind of violate the confidentiality, like try to create kind of spoofing the accounts. They can create a phishing and something like they can create a kind of they try to hack to the kind of access the system. So we talk more about this one later, but I just clarify confidentiality. Just try to use information to log in and try to use some resource in your system. And about the one of thing you can see currently, the password is very popular. The very common the question is the password is safe. Yeah. So this one is I think everyone will think, okay, this one is kind of so long time, 20 years ago. So okay, so I would say the password may be safe for now, but it's not fully the complete safe because the password, if you name the password, is very short, right? Very short. So the hacker can use a brute force and they can attack and they can guess the password like if you name the password like a birthday or your name, they can very quickly guess the account, right? So if password is not fully safe, so what's the method we can use? So currently we have many methods like you can use SSO, you can use the login ID from the Facebook, Google, or Windows, Twitter. Yeah, you can use many kind of methods. And if you see in the iPhone, so now you can have Face ID, right? When you hear you want to log in on the bank account, so you can check Face ID or Touch ID. You can use fingerprint. So that is several methods. And but I think one thing is password is very hard to remember. So that's why you think if you have register a lot of account over there many kind of websites, something, and you need to have some program to save like Google Chrome. But this one something like if the hacker can hack to the Google, so they can know every password. So this is not safe. I think this is not safe. So you can see something like hacker can know when they open the window and open their PC and just click on one part and they can see the password very clear. Okay, so the second pillars for the CIA, that's integrity. So this one is very simple. Integrity, that means make sure your account or your information cannot modify by the other. For example, something like I already give you score in the the class, right? And the one thing I want that I do not every student can alternate or modify score without my permission, right? So you can see this score. So integrity is similar. The integrity, the characteristic try to clarify. You cannot modify if no permission from the owner. So currently we have many kind of technology maintain this kind of characteristic like MD5, SA or Bitcoin. Yeah, you heard very popular about the Bitcoin. If you want to access the Bitcoin, the wallet, you cannot do that if you have no permission from the owner. And the second, the function is called hash function. So hash function you can see eventually you see in the left side we have input, different input. So you can have see the digest or the hash code even so different. Actually you see the input, the second row and third row, fourth or fifth rows, they just different one character. But after you go to the hash function, so you can see the hash code will so different. So the one thing, even in security, eventually you just change one bit or one character in the whole file. If they go to the hash function, they will see the hash code different. So hash code different, they can tell us, okay, someone already touched the document or already modified the profile. So that is goal for integrity, to make sure everything just maintain the same like we send. We cannot modify by the hacker or someone on the internet, right? So this one is fundamental thing for the data security. So you can see, yeah. And the last one is availability. This one is quite popular. Actually, you can see why currently we can use Google every day and every time. But sometimes you will see the Google is just down for several minutes, right? Because of many reasons, something like because outage, yeah, or something like because the hacker try to launch a denial of service. And if you see in the screen, so you can see this one is uptime for one service in overlap, and you can see mostly the time is the uptime. And but still have the last week we have a December have on the outage. So because some update from the developer, so they create the mistake in their deployment. So they create a kind of downtime. So you can see this one is critical. So I would say the availability to just make one characteristic try to make as a system online every day, 24 hours and 7 days. But that one is impossible in practice. We just can mean some company just say I just can guarantee about 99% the time the system can up or the online. So yes, you can see some carrying faster because software errors, denied service, or power outage, or disaster. Yeah, so many things. So we cannot maintain the 100%. That's why the availability is very difficult to maintain. And you can see when you work on a security, so you will question which one is most important, confidentiality, integrity, or availability. Actually, this one, I would say you need to maintain all the three similar important because some security companies they need maintain. You need to know this kind of function, and you need to maintain the system, follow the own requirement, follow these three pillars. And the last one we will say about some class information. So this one is just to summarize about the top secret, secret, and restrict public. And this one I think just similar to our system to make sure the system can access by the level, access the information by level. If the required top secret, you cannot, you cannot access the whole system if you do not have a security clearance. If the secret or restrict, you need to have some permission to access, but you cannot broadcast everyone know if the public, so everyone can access with the website. So you can see this is one example for how you can know top secret or some the information to share over the world. So have one airline. So if you see over here, so I think for security perspective, so I encourage if you have an airline ticket, you cannot share like something like a seat, the fly, and something the name, because everyone currently they can based on that kind of unique information, they can track you very clear. So that is one example to indicate the information security, confidential security is very important. So you can just hide this information if you want to share something like you have some a scholarship and you want to go there for something. And something like a credit card. Credit card. This one is information related to the classified information. You need to make sure you cannot share about the account number or name or valid or some secret number. So if you learn about security, I encourage you can hide some information, like you can hide the secret, and you can hide some, the account number. You cannot share for the other. Okay, the summary. So this lesson, I will teach you about the three pillars of security: the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So remember, these three pillars will be involved in every security things in future. So I hope you know the difference between the three this term. Confidentiality about the authentication, authorization. Integrity, make sure that no information can modify by the adversary or the hacker. And availability, just make sure the system online every time and up maybe 20 hours and 7, but maybe in practice just up to about 99%. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope everyone can know this term.